Hello, welcome everybody to Poetry Festival SG Singapore. And we're actually going to look at this session called Poetry Publishing from the Mouths of Babes. Okay, and here we have with us here Yokai and Avishi Gurnani. Okay, so a very welcome to you. I'm going to introduce Avishi Gurnani first. Okay, Avishi Gurnani was born in India in 2010, but grows up in Singapore. Okay, she loves to play tennis and the piano. Her little brother has inspired her to write one of her books, Tales in the Tale of a Tale. Avishi Gunani is passionate about art and writing, and she is the author and illustrator of three published poetry book series: Poetry with Me and Me, Poetry with Mom and Me, and some more poetry with me and me. Her story, Ties of Hope, was shortlisted in the top 50 for the Asian Young Authors Award 2021. She also won the first place for the Elmbridge Young Author Award for a poem, As If It Never Happened. In addition, she received a special mention in the Shepton Snowdrop Poetry Festival for her poem, Holding My Hand to Give Me Hope, and was longlisted for her poem, Life Breathes Behind Mask, in the Minds Shine Bright competition. In 2020 and 2021, she was awarded the Silver and Bronze Awards, respectively for her pieces My Planet, My Earth, and also her story Unmasked, When the World Wore a Mask. She is also an active contributor to Straits Times Forum and voices out on issues she feels passionate about. Okay, let me introduce our second speaker for today. Okay, Yo Ka In is a 13-year-old Singaporean author and singer-songwriter. Ka In has achieved multiple awards, including Global Child Prodigy in 2022, Grand Prize winner for the 16th World Child Haiku Contest, and Silver Award for the Queen's Commonwealth Essay Competition. Recently, she was awarded Diploma of the London College of Music. She has performed internationally across Southeast Asia, Europe, and the USA. Her creative expressions are also reflected in her passions. In music, she plays the piano, drums, guitar, guzheng, dizi, and flute. She's a trained Latin ballroom dancer since the age of 8. Okay, let us welcome our two very talented winners and young writers. Okay, Shivi, yeah, you may begin now. Sorry, Kain, you may begin now. Okay.
Okay, so I will quickly just give a second brief introduction to myself. Hello, my name is Yo Kai-ying, and I am a secondary 2 student from Tangling Secondary School. I am very happy to be able to be here and be invited. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Kain.
So today I will be sharing my song Fearless, and it's a bit interesting because this song was originally actually a poem, and I decided to turn the poem into use the poetry as song lyrics and turn it into kind of a pop rock song. So today I'll be sharing my poem and song, which have the same name, Fearless, in both forms.
Okay, so maybe you would like to ask Abishi about her experiences first. Okay, then
Oh yeah,
Abishi
sure.
will be interviewing you later. Thank you.
All right, okay. Okay, so I have a few questions for you, Avishi. So for the poetry competition, Hope in Nature this year. So your poem, Holding My Hand to Give Me Hope, was awarded special mentions, while Ties of Hope was shortlisted for Asian Young Author Award 2021. Congrats on that. So how do you feel about winning awards?
Thanks, Kai. Um, Actually, I feel that winning awards is just honestly a byproduct of my writing because I write truly just to express what I feel. And I also write to educate others. For example, As you mentioned, Ties of Hope, which was shortlisted for the Asian Young Author Award 2021, was written by me because I had heard about sati, which is a cruel practice that used to happen in ancient India, where a woman burns herself on her husband's funeral pyre. And I was shocked and extremely angry that this used to happen, and was adamant that people should learn about this. Because even though this kind of stuff doesn't happen in our society nowadays, this kind of social stigma towards women is still present, and we must all be aware about it. And even though, as I earlier mentioned, winning awards is a byproduct, I honestly feel humble and really grateful to all the family, friends, and especially my parents, who have motivated me on this journey and have given me that extra support, which I really needed to win these awards in the first place. I wouldn't be here without them.
Nice. Okay, second question. So, you are the author and illustrator of 3 published poetry book series. What motivated you to publish the poetry anthologies?
I think that the reason I published the poetry anthologies wasn't to end up publishing in the first place. I started writing when I was about 9 to 10 years old during the COVID-19 pandemic, which I think affected us all. I actually didn't know that I would come so far in my journey of writing. Then I only started penning down what I felt and what I heard as a way to express myself. It was only at the start of 2021 to the that my mom suggested that I should turn them into poetry book anthologies. So I think that the real motivation, the real drive inside me to publish the poetry anthologies wasn't to end up publishing. It was just to express myself.
That was a very nice response. Okay. So question 3: what advice would you give children and what inspiration would you give them so that they can publish their own poetry anthologies like you?
I think that I would really advise them to just follow their heart, because it shouldn't be forced to publish your own poetry anthologies. Like Kaing and me, we own have our different modes of expression. But like Da Vinci once said, painting is poetry that is seen and not felt. Poetry is painting that is felt and not seen. There are different modes of expression. But if you really feel that poetry or writing is your true calling, just start penning down what you express as a way to express yourself and what you feel. Slowly, in time, if you feel that you have the heart for it, then go ahead and start publishing. Because everybody has their own modes of expression. It just depends when you find it.
All right, and I've also heard that you have also published a collection of short stories.
Yeah, I have actually, but it's not a collection. It's one short story. It's called Tales in a Tale of a Tale. So this short story, when I was writing it, I actually found it quite funny. I still do when I read it today. It's about this very curious little monkey in this forest called Caliper. And he goes around trying to look for his own tail, which he thinks has dropped off. So this story, unlike many of my other stuff, is like, it doesn't have a meaning to it. But I thought of it as a way to not express myself, but express myself for my brother. Because at around that time when I started to write Tales in a Tale of a Tale, my brother was slowly growing up. He's 4 now. And then I had always thought of a way to, tell stories to him. And Tales in a Tale of a Tale is a story that I used to read to him every night. And so I just published it.
That's nice. Okay, so last question. So, about the short story that you've just told us about, we would like you to go and invite you to go and read it for us, and maybe, okay, we would like to invite you to go and read a few of your poem anthologies, as a few extracts of them. So,
Okay.
yeah.
The first poem that I think I will read is called The Tranquil Tower. It's actually a poem plus a short description. Okay, I'll start. The lonely lighthouse serves as the best mate to boats and ships, shielding them from rocks, reefs, into havens and harbors, to the storms and the tempests. The lighthouse enchanting, with fables so fascinating, luring the boats to sleep. Many an author have used the lighthouse to be a center of a spooky story or a romantic rendezvous. Hearing every boat sigh, every ship sing, and every captain moan. Hearing its own sighs echoing around the empty sea as it stares into the vast ocean. The lighthouse. It's endangered, about to be extinct, about to become part of ancient fables like the genie. The lighthouse grants wishes, but what about its own wishes? Towering tributes traversing the tides, Titanics taking on the tenacious torrents, toiling through the treacherous, tormenting thunders, tackling the treacherous tempests till tossed, thumped, swept, thoughtfully tempering the tattered traveller, triumphing troubles, though timorous, through thrills thick, thin, testimony to troubled, torturous, tennis times. Timeless tales the tranquil tower treasures. The second poem I will be reading is As If It Never Happened, which won the first place in the Elmridge Literary Competition. This poem was actually inspired from the scenes of war that are going on all over the world today, the most recent being the Ukraine war. Particles of sand, remains of a time long gone, blow towards our eyes. She pulls her hijab closer, her face looking down. As tiny fingers grasp her hand, asking for a promise she cannot give. Gunshots echoing through the bare streets, warning those who dare to stand up. Salty tears flowing down her bruised cheeks, her ring snug over the fourth of her left hand. A reminder of who she had not seen for months. Where had he gone? She knew, but dare not say out loud, for then the tiny fingers could grasp no one. A silence for a minute, a second too long. The tear gas bombing the street as he ran back, crying freely. For his country's freedom, his own pride, and the tear gas in his eyes. Officers clad in green and black, storming the streets that used to be for merriment. Those days, those times forgotten, like he would soon be. The unsung, the uncelebrated. When, he had asked once, on the last day he went to school. His teacher didn't give a reply, so he knew there was none. Wedding bells ringing before a different sound is heard, blaring from the TV, one word reverberating. War. A missile, a bomb, exploding inches away, hesitant to grab a gun. The very soil that was home was now a battlefield, littered with carcasses of those fighting, poised to fire, hands trembling as many a minute pass. A scream is heard before the silence, as they round a table discussing a peace treaty in the end, to let life go on once more, as if all the questions would be answered, as if it never happened, as if. Thank you.
That was a very nice poem.
Okay, now I would like to ask Kai-Ying a few questions. Kai-Ying, this year you won the Global Child Prodigy Award. Congrats! You were the grand prize winner for the 16th World Children's Haiku Contest, and you also won the Silver Award for the Queen's Commonwealth Essay Competition. How do you feel?
Oh, thank you so much for your question. I feel quite happy about it, and it helps give me a little marker of where I stand and when the quality of my work is. Personally, about the awards, I feel very happy about them, though I really do not participate in competitions or anything like that just for the award. I always just like to go and share my work out there, even if it's in a competition, and just express myself freely and give myself a voice where I can share all these works, which is the main reason why I participate in competitions. The other reason is to gain experience, as I feel that the more experience, the better, and the more I would learn. So going through all these competitions and winning, it's just something it's a small reminder for me that I've done something and I should continue progressing on.
Very nice. As an author, you published your first book, My First Baby Tooth, only when you were 7. What motivated you to publish this book at such a tender age? And were you encouraged to publish more books after this first experience?
Okay, to answer the second question first before I forget. Yes, I was actually. I saw it as a very interesting experience, as I knew that not many people my age, especially when I was 7, would publish a book. So I was very happy about being able to publish and express myself. And my mom encouraged me to publish more and to express myself more and get my voice out there. And that's why I'm counting. That's why I have 4 more books now. So the reason, and back to the first question, the reason why I published My First Baby Tooth was actually, it's more of a personal recount of what happened when I lost my first tooth, because when everyone always considers losing their first tooth a big milestone in growing up and aging. So I decided, why not? I remember how I lost my first tooth in a way that not many people have. So that's why. It's also very nice because I also get to see how I because when you talk, you can like when you express yourself in books and writing, you can kind of get a grip of how someone would talk through how they write sometimes. So I decided to go and publish a book when I was 7. So as I age, I can look back on how I used to talk and how I used to think about the world when I was 7 through that tiny glimpse through a book.
It's very, very special. Why don't you tell us more about your second book, Growing Up Raising New Lives?
Okay, so Growing Up Raising New Lives, my second book right here, is kind of a book that compares the life cycles of a human to a tree. So, for example, it starts out as the tree being a seed, and the human being a baby, just being born. And as the tree grows, the human will also grow up. And it talks about how people grow up and how people change over the years. And it kind of uses the metaphor of humans and all that being a tree. And it's very special to me because it reminds me that everyone grows up, and it's a very little reminder to how I should see the world.
Cool. What about Snowy and Fearless, your 2 other books?
Alright, so Snowy was a very interesting thing. So I attended a writing course when I wrote Snowy, and I managed to write it. And so far, I felt that all my books have been either more personal recounty or I would say not that fictional. It's more non-fiction and more realistic. They talk more realistic things, but this book is more of a fictional thing, as Snowy is the main character of the book, and what happens in the book is Snowy goes on a small little adventure everywhere. And so it was more of a light-hearted book that I had fun making, and I didn't think so much about it, and I just made it, and kind of let me express who I was at that time, because I was still quite young, and it let me be playful and while making the book.
Yes. What about Fearless?
Okay, so Fearless is my most recent book, and I've made it, and it was made quite recently. So this book was made at the start of COVID, around the first year of the pandemic. And the reason why I made it was because I wanted to go and share my insights about how the pandemic what the pandemic was, and to tell people not to panic, because when the pandemic was first announced and when Singapore was announced to have to go into lockdown, everyone's panic buying. So, and I actually like went to a supermarket like the next day, and I saw everyone queuing up, lining up. Everyone was in a frenzy, and everyone was panicking. So I kind of wanted to write a book and write a poem, write a book, and go and tell people and assure people that everything will be fine, and even if it will take a long time, that we will eventually overcome this situation. So we would have to stay calm, and that was the point of Fearless.
Cool. And what advice do you think you will give to children who are inspired to publish books just like you?
Whatever anybody tells you, do not stop writing, and do not stop thinking, being creative. No matter what anybody tells you, just write. Even if it doesn't look good, just write, because you never know. The more you write, like I said early on, the more experience you have, the better. So you'll always get better experience. So write more, even if you don't think it's going well at first. And then eventually you would be able to see some improvement as you look back. And one day you can get maybe enough poems, maybe you can write a book and publish it one day. You just can't give up.
Yeah. I think your advice has also motivated me now. You're also a singer-songwriter, and you have composed Fearless and Crown to express the spirit of endurance of humankind in its fight against the COVID-19 pandemic, as you had mentioned earlier on. And would you like to perform any of these songs for us?
Sure, I will actually right now perform Fearless, and I will also recite it as a poem afterwards. I'll perform it first though. Crowns feel like they've surrounded us with fear and death. We have nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. The terror worsening as days go by. We attempt to shield ourselves with blacks, blues, and greens. We cry, we shout, but the creatures have no mercy. Orders were given, yet another day of panic. To make certain measures, close everything up. One day we had enough. We were tired of running, and the time had come. Put on our best gear and headed out to the battlefield. The crowns feel like they've surrounded us with fear and death. We have nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. The terror worsening as the days go by. We attempt to shield ourselves with blacks, blues, and greens. We cry, we shout, but the creatures have no mercy. Orders were given, yet another day of panic. To make certain measures, close everything up. One day we had enough. We were tired of running, and the time had come. Put on our best gear and headed out to the battlefield. One day we had enough. We were tired of running, and the time had come. Put on our best gear and headed out to the battlefield. No matter how long it'll take, we will overcome. We will fight. The crowns all must play a part. We will win this war, united no matter what. One day we had enough. We were tired of running, and the time had come. Put on our best gear and headed out to the battlefield. One day we had enough. We were tired Alright, so now I will recite Fearless as a poem. The crowns feel like they have surrounded us with fear and death. We have nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, the terror worsening as the days go by. We attempt to shield ourselves with blacks, blues, and greens. We cry, we shout, but the creatures have no mercy. Orders were given on yet another day of panic to make certain measures, to close everything off. One day, we had enough. We were tired of running and the time had come. We put on our best gear and headed out to the battlefield. No matter how long it will take, we will overcome. We will fight the crowns. All must play a part. We will win this war. United no matter what.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Kai, what do you think about songwriting? Do you think it's in any way similar to book publishing? You've experienced both.
In terms of publishing, publishing songs and publishing poems, books are two different worlds, because there's many different things, especially even making songs. Actually, I do see some poeticness in lyrics, but other than that, it's quite different. Despite both being an art form. So for poetry or any books in general, you would have to kind of proofread. We'll get someone to proofread it after you yourself read through it and edit it and finish writing the book. And you would have a proofreader. And then after that, you need to go and publish it and find a publishing company and publish it. But for music, there's a lot more people involved. So for music, there's many people from music can start. The first draft of the song can start as a demo and then go on from there, and there'll be many other people involved in this, especially people who help you record the song, maybe a mixing engineer, and a lot of other people. And it's a very tedious and long process, especially with the publishing. And that's entire long, how do I say, it's an entire long cycle of making a song and publishing a song. And I have to say, there's a few similarities between it, which is both take quite some time.
That's cool. So, in the future, I think that I will start writing a mystery series. What about you? What do you think? What are your future plans for publishing and songwriting?
So, I actually have a very recent song that actually came out, I think, a week or two ago, and it was kind of jazzy. So, and I really enjoyed making that song. So I feel that I might try to make another song in that style. And it's for me. If you see how long other people have been in the music industry, I have not been writing and publishing songs for that long. So I'm still finding out my style, and I think I'm getting there. I'm getting there, which I'm very happy about. So that's one thing I will be doing in the future. And for books, I really hope to publish something, perhaps fictional, because I like writing a lot, and the things I write, which, like, besides the books I've published, the new things I've written are more fantasy than they are books like my first book or my second book. So I hope to be able to publish that one day.
That's really awesome. Maybe Mr. Chiew Hong would like to take over now.
Thank you. Okay, maybe Avishi, can you share with us your publishing plans? Do you think you are inspired to maybe write songs too, like Kain?
Maybe songs is not for me. I don't think that I would be one to write songs. But definitely in the near future, maybe in the first half, or maybe even a few months from now, the first two books of my new mystery series will be coming out. They are the mystery of the archaic Adbara and the mystery of the botanic puff. And I think that I really enjoyed writing those two books because the aim of me writing this mystery series was really to allow myself to explore Singapore's culture and history and also allow other people to explore it in a more fun and exciting way. So, the two main characters in my mystery series will be Iris Griffins and Priya Gupta. These two characters are actually modeled on myself and some of my friends. Um, and I think that writing this mystery has been a long time favorite of mine, a long time genre favorite of mine. And I think writing this really allowed me to, explore a new genre because for a long time I've been focusing on poetry, a genre that I think I specialize in, and maybe short stories a little bit and some essays. So maybe it was time for me to, start exploring new genres. What like Kaing had said, because right now compared to a lot of other writers, I spent little to no time in the writing industry, and I think I'm still finding my feet, and I'm still finding out what I would like to pursue, what kind of writing I would like to do, and this mystery series is really helping me do that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Kali, maybe you can share with us your song title so that viewers can look forward and then find your songs on the internet. Okay, I think you
Oh,
said it's a
sure.
Desi piece, but what exactly is the title? Yeah.
Okay, so my most recent song, actually I have quite a few songs already published. My most recent song that I was talking about earlier was actually called Macarons and Tea. And I'll just share my artist name because I have quite a few songs, and you can also find Fearless on Spotify and a lot of other streaming platforms. So my artist name is Kawasxmi, Kawasxmi. I switched out the E for an X because it will look better. Yeah. So I have quite a few songs there, including Fearless in my new song, and I am really hoping for myself to be able to publish more songs in the near future. So that's where all my new projects, well, music related projects would be.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so can I now maybe just say a final thank you, okay, to all of you, okay, because what happens is that I would like to say a very big thank you on behalf of Poetry Festival Singapore. Okay, I mean, we are very privileged to have two very, very talented young writers, okay, and who have actually experimented with different genres from poetry, short stories to songwriting. And we are looking forward to you doing Singapore proud, okay, with all the awards that you're winning. Okay, thank you very much. It's definitely a privilege for us. Okay, and thank you so much for coming in. Okay, bye bye.
Thank
Okay,
you.
want
Thank
to
you for
say
having
anything
me
to the
here.
Thank
viewers?
you.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for
Bye. Thank you so
watching.
much.
Okay, bye bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.